You know, folks, we are on the cusp of history. And most people, including myself, coin dealers, everybody in the numismatic had no idea. It kind of came at us out of nowhere. We are at the end of an era, and that is the Kennedy half dollar. The Kennedy half dollar has been America's half dollar since 1964. November 22nd, 1963, America changed forever with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. This nation rushed to memorialize him, and they did so on our largest circulating coin at the time, which was the half dollar. And so in 1964, the United States Mint, because back then, technology was different, they had to use an existing die. And what they used was his presidential medallion. And then on the reverse, they just used the presidential seal. And so they came up with this coin. Then they went to Jackie Kennedy, actually, and said, "Do you approve of this?" And she said, she was great. She said, "You got to add a little more hair up here, so you get a nice, nice full head of hair." And approved it. And so it came out in 1964 and has been our half dollar ever since, from 1964. And we just thought that would go on, in essence, indefinitely, as it has gone on 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. It just keeps going. It has not changed in almost 3/4 of a century. Then out of nowhere, we already had the news that the Lincoln cent is ending. They're ending the penny. They're ending the cent. And then for next year's going to be a big year. It's the semi-quincentennial, 250th anniversary of the United States Mint, or of the United States, sorry, not the Mint, the whole United States, 250th anniversary, and they made this announcement. The Kennedy half dollar, Kennedy will not be on the half dollar next year. Out of nowhere. And here's the thing. The vast majority of people have no idea. The vast majority of people have no idea that Kennedy is off the half dollar for next year. The presidential seal is off the half dollar for next year. They're going to do a special one thing. 2027, who knows? At best, a redesign, but could be it forever. Certainly, the Kennedy half dollar as we know it, from 1964 until today, is gone. It's done. It's over. This is the last one. This is the end of an era. Now, here's the problem from a collecting standpoint. Here's a problem from the collecting standpoint. The United States government basically stopped making Kennedy half dollars for circulation in 2001. So from 2001 until today, the problem is that they've not made that many Kennedy half dollars. So we're ending the Lincoln cent. They're almost impossible to find. They're selling for, 20 times face value at the very least, and they're going to make 1 billion of them. Well, they're not going to make 1 billion 2025 Kennedys. They're not going to make 10 million. They're barely going to make, at best, we're looking at, maybe 10 million coins, because they put them out only in bags like this and rolls. So the United States Mint does P&D rolls. Now, the United States Mint is sold out of rolls, and they are sold out of bags. So I don't know where people are going to get Kennedy half dollars. And now, as everybody starts learning, it is the end of an era. They are done. So in 1964, which everybody hoarded Kennedy half dollars from the very first year, they made tens and tens and tens, hundreds of millions of Kennedy half dollars. The 2025, the last coin, is going to be 100 times rarer. It's going to be basically 100 times, 50 to 100 times rarer. And so it's going to be incredibly difficult to get. Now, here's the thing. As I said, we're on the cusp of history. You are on the cusp of a tremendous opportunity. Because here's what it comes down to. The vast majority of people don't even know that they're ending the Kennedy half dollar. The vast majority of people have no idea they're even ending the Kennedy half dollar. And therein lies the problem. as more, and the Lincoln cent, that got a lot of press. That was out there. In the Lincoln, so, like I said, the Lincoln cent is selling for what? 20 times face value? 20 times face value at the very least? At 20 times face value, these rolls are $200 a piece. These rolls are $200 a piece. Every one of these coins is gem brilliant uncirculated. Gem brilliant uncirculated. And in each roll, you get 10 Philadelphia minted coins, and you get 10 Denver minted coins. So 10 P's and 10 D's in each roll. Now, at $39.95, it's, I think, an incredible opportunity because we actually have them. Even the mint is sold out. But the big deal is right there, 3 rolls. So you're going to get 30 Philadelphia mints and 30 Denver mints, and you get that all the way down to $33 a roll. $33 a roll. Understand, now is the time. I was able to get some of these. You don't understand, when the government sold these in bags and rolls, they didn't sell them at face value. They sold them at significant premiums to face value to start with. And then when they sold them out, the United States mint rolls that are coming out have just gone up dramatically in value, doubled, tripled. Because everybody is starting to understand what's going to happen to this, what amounts to an incredibly rare coin, made by the United States Mint, that's made by the United States Mint, and it's ending. They're ending the Kennedy half-dollar. I can't even put that into words in terms of the importance. And understand, I talk for a living, okay? So I can put almost anything into words. But the significance of this, both numismatically, historically, just from a cultural standpoint in this country, the fact that John F. Kennedy will not be on the $50 next year is cataclysmic. And normally you would assume, like they're going to make 1.4 billion pennies. And you can't find any of those right now because they're ending the cent. Now you take a thing that instead of 1.2 billion, there's a couple of million out there, literally 500 or 1,000 times rarer. And, now you have something that is just as culturally significant as the Lincoln cent, but is much less understood by the general public. So you are out in front of this. And the fact is they're all gem brilliant uncirculated. So a couple of things. $39.95 for a roll, 10 P's, 10 D's. The best batches, of course, as you see right there, you're going to get 3 rolls of each, or 3 rolls total. That's going to be 30 P's and 30 D's for $100. For $100. We also have an extremely limited number of certified Kennedy half-dollars. Now understand, they don't come very nice. They come in these bags. See, this is the way they come. They're banging around on each other as they ship them, as they make them, all that other stuff. So incredibly high-grade Kennedy half-dollars are phenomenally difficult to get. We have got a very few certified Mint State 67 pairs of Kennedy half-dollars. A Philadelphia Mint and a Denver Mint in Mint State 67, both of those for only $99. Like I said, go out there and look for those. Mint State 67 Kennedys, you're going to find they're going to go from $150 to $200 to $250 to $300 for Mint State 67 pairs. I know of nowhere else you can get them for $99.95. We have them certified. Those are incredibly, you think the regular Kennedys. To get a Mint State 67, we generally have to grade somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 coins. 100 coins. So literally the Mint State 67, you have an already rare and desirable coin. Now you have a coin that literally represents 1% or even less than 1% of the mintage of those coins in that incredibly high grade. There's a few out there, and I don't know if we have any in stock or now. In Mint State 69, they go for $1,000 to $1,500 a piece. No Mint State 70s exist. No Mint State 70s exist, the highest grade. So what you have is that opportunity to get an incredibly high grade that's affordable at only $99.95. Let's get back to the Kennedys, to the rolls themselves. I want to go back and kind of go over kind of the historical, cultural, numismatic significance of the ending of the Kennedy half dollar, certainly as we know it. So again, the Kennedy half dollar first started in 1964. Look, were it not for the tragic assassination of John F. Kennedy, we'd still be spending Franklin half dollars. That's just the fact of the matter. But November 22nd, 1963, this country changed forever with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. By 1964, we had put the Kennedy half dollar, which was our largest circulating coin at the time, we had put the Kennedy half dollar back into circulation. And of course, it became, I mean, when it was first released in 1964, there were lines around the block just to get these coins. And they made literally tens, hundreds of millions of 1964 Kennedy half dollars, which to this day sell for $30, $40, $50 a piece. Fast forward to 2025, the end of the era, the end of the Kennedy half dollar. Kennedy's not going to be on the half dollar next year. The presidential seal is off the half dollar for next year as well. The end of the Kennedy, and you are able to get these coins for literally, there's 20 coins in a row, so you're basically $2 a piece. You're basically $2 a piece. You can get it down even below that. Okay, you can get it even below that if you buy the 3-roll set for $100. Because there's 20 coins in each roll, 10 Philadelphia Mints and 10 Denver Mints. So you're going to get 60 coins for $100. 60 coins for $100. When you look out there in the marketplace, there's just nothing like that out there. The United States Mint, like I said, they traditionally have sold rolls of Kennedy half dollars because they don't make them really for circulation anymore. Ostensibly, they were supposed to make them for circulation this year. Understand, I know basically everybody in the coin business. I don't know where any of them are. They said they made them. Who knows what happened to them? Maybe they're doing some special celebration or something at the end of the year. I have no idea, but I've not seen them. The rolls from the United States Mint, which sell for massive premiums out there, those are sold out. Those are gone. The bags, this is the only other way that you could get them from the United States Mint, either rolls or bags. The bags are sold out from the United States Mint. So the existing supply of Kennedy half dollars is what exists. Now we're in a situation where 2, 3, 4% maybe of the population knows that the Kennedy that's even high, 1 or 2% of the population knows that the Kennedy half dollar is ending. You are now one of those 1%. When everybody finds out, when they start saying we've made the last Kennedy half dollar in the Type 1, this is it for the Kennedy half dollar, they release the new design for next year with no Kennedy and no presidential seal on it. Now what happens? Because what exists in the marketplace is all that there is. They're already incredibly difficult to get. Before that information, the rolls from the Mint were sold out. Before that information has become widely available, the bags have been sold out. So when I said at the beginning of this, we stand on the cusp of history, it's not just the numismatic history of the end of one of our longest running coins, but also the opportunity, this history that I speak of, is you having the opportunity to participate on this when it's still a relatively reasonable price. I mean, when you take a look at supply and demand, once everybody finds out, and understand, if everybody wanted one and these are gem brilliant uncirculated, look at that coin. Gem brilliant, and by the way, there's the mint mark. It's either a P or a D. P or a D right there. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, these are just stunningly beautiful gem brilliant uncirculated coins. So if everybody in the United States, there's 300 million Americans. If they took every Kennedy half dollar that they supposedly made, only about 1 in 50 Americans can even own a single coin. Can own a single coin. So if you're buying a roll of 20, you're getting 1,000 people's coins is ultimately what it comes down to. That is the rarity that I'm talking about. And most people don't understand just how phenomenally rare these are. That the United States Mint literally stopped making them for circulation because we don't spend half dollars. So they had plenty of half dollars from the 80s and 90s. And so they had to continue making them because it was law. So they made only these bags and rolls. Many of these back dates that aren't even the last year of issue can sell for massive 5 times, 10 times, 1,000% premiums to their original issue price. Now factor in the fact that you have the very last of one of the most popular coins ever made by the United States Mint. Factor in that it is now the very last year of production, and now you understand that you're on the cusp of that opportunity for you as a collector, as a consumer, as someone that wants to celebrate America and celebrate Americana. I mean, the Kennedy half dollar has been ubiquitous in American society for my entire life. I've been in the coin business for 50 years. I know it looks hard to 50 years in the business when I look younger than 50, but folks, I'm well into Medicare age at this point. Coins have kept me young. They'll keep you young as well. And so what you've got with this is this thing that has been part and parcel of American culture and history and numismatics and change and everything else for over a half century, and it is ending. And you have the opportunity to commemorate that. You have the opportunity to celebrate that and own these coins at what is still a very incredible, affordable price. It's not just the fact that our pricing is so phenomenally affordable. It's the fact that they're available at all. Like I said, the United States Mint is sold out from them. So, I mean, where else are you going to get them? You're not going to go to your bank and get them. I mean, you can try, but they're not going to have them. And you go get a roll of Kennedy half dollars, they're all going to be from the 80s and 90s. They're all going to be from the 80s and 90s. There might be a few. I think they said they made a few in 2022 maybe for circulation, 2023, but you're not going to get any 2025s. If you do, take every single solitary one they give you and put it away. This is going to have historical significance, not only numismatically, but from an American standpoint. Next year is going to be monstrous. I just have to tell you this. Next year, the semi-quincentennial, 250th anniversary of the United States, a quarter millennia of existence for the United States, and Kennedy will not be on the half dollar to help us celebrate that. So now is the time to celebrate the Kennedy half dollar. And I can't impress upon you enough. So when they make pennies, they make billions. When they make nickels, they make hundreds of millions. When they make dimes, they make hundreds of millions. When they make quarters, they make $1 billion. Kennedy half dollars don't circulate like that. The United States government literally 20 years ago stopped making them for circulation because we just don't use them. And so what that has created is one of the great collectibles that the vast majority of people don't even know about, but now you do, and this is your opportunity. Here's the one thing I can tell you. Here's the one thing I can tell you. From here, they only get harder to get. From here, they only get more desirable. From here, they only get more historic. And here's the reason. Once again, like I said, we're on the cusp of history here. The United States Mint has announced that John F. Kennedy will not be on the half dollar next year. The presidential seal, the traditional reverse of the Kennedy half dollar, will not be on the half dollar next year. So now we have 60 plus years of history, 60 plus years of history that is now gone by the wayside, that is now ending. It is literally the end of an era. That is compounded from a collecting standpoint. Everybody wants the last year of issue, obviously, first year, last year. Well, first year of issue Kennedys sell for $30 or $40 a piece, so a roll can be certainly $600 to $800 for a roll of the first year, for the roll of the first year of Kennedys. And everybody's going to want the first year and the last year. The problem is there's far fewer last years than first years because, once again, they stopped making Kennedy half dollars in any quantity in 2001. So what you have is the end of an era, an incredibly culturally, numismatically, historically significant coin that they made virtually none of from a numismatic perspective, and you have the opportunity to literally stack them. Not at $30 or $40 per coin, but literally like, $2 per coin. Literally $2 per coin or less if you buy the 3-pack. 3-pack will get you 30 Ps, and 30 Ds will get you 60 coins. We'll get you 60 coins for $100. Every single one of them, let me show you again. These are all original Gem Brilliant uncirculated coins. These are all original Gem Brilliant uncirculated coins. Look at these coins. Absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful, 100% original, the end of an era, and you have it in its absolute finest condition. The only way you could possibly get it any better is if you see down at the bottom of your screen, it says the Kennedy P&D pair in Mint State 67. So in coin collecting, as in any collecting, the single most important determining factor of value is what? Condition. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. Well, when we grade these Kennedy $half, understand these are mint state coins. They're not proof coins. So you're used to us seeing me sell, mint state 70 or proof 70 silver eagles or coins. There are no mint state 70 Kennedy $half from 2025. None, zero, zip. There are a handful of mint state 69s. They start at about $1,000 a coin and go up from there. Mint State 68s, $300 to $500 a piece. You maybe find them for $250 a piece. So to get a Mint State 67 pair, and those are certified, by the way. Those are independently third-party certified by Annex, each coin to be super choice, gem, brilliant, uncirculated Mint State 67. Remember, the top of the scale is the 70. There are no 70s. The 69s are $1,000 plus. 68s are $300, $400, $500. So at Mint State 67, at less than $50 a coin, because you get a Philadelphia Mint and a Denver Mint, the certification alone is $20 per coin in that. There's $20 per coin in that. And then we have to go through literally hundreds, thousands of coins to get a few of the Mint State 67s. These coins are all going to be Mint State 64, Mint State 65, Mint State 66. Somewhere in there, if you have the 3-roll, you're going to get maybe you'll have a Mint State 67 in the 3-roll pack if you certify them all. But you'd have to certify 60 coins, cost you $1,200 to certify those, $20 a coin. So, buying 3 rolls and then a pair of Mint State 67s, that is the proper way to do it. That is the way to take advantage of what is an incredible numismatic, cultural, and historic opportunity. As I said here at the top of the program, we are on the cusp of history, both from a numismatic standpoint and from a collector standpoint. From a numismatic standpoint, the United States Mint has announced the end of the Kennedy $half. That Kennedy $half, John F. Kennedy will not be on the $half next year in 2026. Just won't be on there. The presidential seal will not be on the $half in 2026. 2027, I know for a fact the presidential seal is gone forever. They may redesign the Kennedy on that, but there's been no talk of that, but it'd be a complete and total redesign. And of course, the presidential seal is gone. It's off the Kennedy $half. So now we're at the end of an era. We're at the end of history. You have that opportunity. You have that opportunity. And while you have the end of the Lincoln Cent doing this year, and the Lincoln Cent selling for 20 times, 30 times face value, 20 times face value would be $200 a roll. And understand these are significantly far rarer, 50 times rarer, 500 times rarer than the Lincoln Cents, because the United States Mint, like I said, didn't make the Kennedy $half for circulation. They are already sold out of bags. They are already sold out of rolls. What exists in the market is what exists in the market. And like literally 1%. And you are now one of the 1% of people in the country that even know that they're ending the Kennedy $half as we know it. 1964 to 2025, those are the end dates. That's the beginning and the end. So 1964, 2025. And you have the opportunity, also historic, to participate in that. Not at 20 times face value, not at 20 times face value, but less than $2 per coin. Less than $2 per coin. Obviously, the best way to go, I mean, you want to roll, but the best way to go while we still have quantity are the 3 rolls for $100. To get the 3 rolls for $100. That is the way to put these into your collection. That is the way to celebrate 61 years of the Kennedy half dollar. Like I said, as more and more and more people out there begin to get the news that the Kennedy half dollar is ending, it will create incredible pressure in the marketplace for a coin that the United States Mint is not making any more of, that the United States Mint is currently sold out of, that what exists in the marketplace is what exists for all collectors. And as that supply and demand starts to take over, now is the time to act, where, like I said, 1% or even less than 1% of the population even understands the situation. As that gets more widespread, as that gets more press, and it absolutely, positively, and certainly will, it will obviously affect the availability and therefore affect the price. So that is historic from the standpoint of the ending of the Kennedy half dollar. It is just as historic what your numismatic opportunity is here to be able to get these. So here's what the offer is, again, to be clear. And understand our quantities are extraordinarily limited for these stunningly beautiful, let me show you again real quickly, gem brilliant uncirculated coins. These coins are stunningly beautiful and 100% original, gem brilliant uncirculated coins. You get 10 Philadelphia Mints and 10 Denver Mints. That's where they made the Mint State coins for $39.95. You can get 3 rolls, so 30 Philadelphia Mints and 30 Denver Mints for $100. So 60 half dollars for $100. Gem Brilliant uncirculated, the sold out, basically now end of an era Kennedy half dollars. It's a tremendous opportunity. And then for a very few of you, the most elite collectors amongst you, you can get the Mint State 67 Kennedy half dollars, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint certified pair in Mint State 67. Those are very, very, very limited. I might actually order those first and then go to your rolls. Understand, at some point, we are going to run out of these rolls as the United States Mint has. So now is the time to take advantage of this historic opportunity. Now is the time to celebrate the end of the Kennedy half dollar and put these away while they are still not only incredibly affordable, not at 20 times or 30 times face value or 20 or 30 or $40 a coin, but at literally less than $2 a coin. But you must act now. All in gem brilliant uncirculated. The quantities are phenomenally limited, only exist in the marketplace. What is in the marketplace, demand can only go up, the collectability can only go up. Please put these in your collection today.